Alright, hello everyone, my name is Shep, and welcome back to the Butcher's Circus. Today we are going to be watching a match between myself and Kotta, and we're playing a very interesting mix and match between DOT and damage team here. So we're playing a Jester, Antiquarian, Man-at-Arms Shieldbreaker combo, so it's nothing too crazy. I believe this is actually like the four characters are actually like the Ludic Savant special, the team that got like a 50+ win streak back in the early days of the Butcher Circus. But we have a completely different team idea here. We have a way more damage-oriented kind of setup here. So we have the Porcupine Man-at-Arms, you know, you just run Shield Spike on him, you run the Retribution, and anytime they try hitting him, he's just going to be an absolute menace. And even if they ignore him, you have the chance of going for guard, so they are forced to hit him, and you have the chance of being a good team support with the Bolster and with the Command, which both synergize very well with characters like the Shieldbreaker and Antiquarian. So first we went for that battle ballad buff, because the enemy has a lot of dodge, and then we went for the Bolster, so just giving ourselves plus 20 accuracy, giving ourselves plus 10 dodge. You just can't go wrong with it against a kind of a mix and match between DOT and Stress team that Kotta is playing here. So we kind of decided that we wanted to play something a little bit off meta, not too off meta, but a little bit. And all Kotta has a very good looking team between, you know, like Flagellant, Shieldbreaker. I mean, those two characters are awesome, they're the power couple. Then you have Man-at-Arms, Grave Robber on the backline, which is not bad at all. But the only thing that's a little bit off meta with his team is the fact that there's no punish on the Flagellant, so, you know, at the very least there's that. So my Antiquarian ate 2 crits despite not even taking the exposed debuff, because we do have the Tears of the Lost, so we actually get a little bit more debuff res. But yeah, even with the Battle Ballad buff and with the 10 accuracy from the Ghoul Claw, we somehow managed to fail the stab on the Grave Robber. I mean, she had a lot of dodge, that's true, but that was still very annoying for me. But we're gonna pull the Grave Robber again, put her in position 1 where she can't panic dodge, where she definitely doesn't want to be, and where she's gonna be forced to go for that Shadow Fade or anything of the likes. So here I'm gonna click the Antiquarian again, I'm gonna go for the stab, hope for the crit. No crit sadly, but that is a very powerful stab. So this team has a surprising amount of damage, very surprising amount of damage, between the Shieldbreaker that has the Pierce and the ability to break guards, like whenever she wants, and also the ability to expose and add more crits, and the Jester with double damage trinkets that you'll see just in a moment, and the Antiquarian without Ghoul Claw. This team can do a really surprising amount of damage. So my Antiquarian's down to Death already, which is really bad, and the enemy Grave Robber has regen on her, so it's going to be very difficult for us to clutch out this early stage of the match, because getting a kill here without Finale is going to be very difficult, considering the regen, right? And considering that our offense is good, but it's not spectacular. It's not like Antiquarian's an Arbalist here. Not even with the Gold Claw, she's still not an Arbalist. So we're going to drop a Dirk Snap. We have a lot of plus accuracy because of the Command and the Battle Ballad. And the Reaper Shroud does also give us 20 accuracy against characters under a third of their HP amount, so that could come in clutch. But the Grave Robber just regens out of Death's Door and drops the Panic Darts on my Antiquarian. We do go Paranoid, which is a blessing and a curse. And why is it a blessing and a curse? Well, yeah. They can read my thoughts, so I will cease thinking. Yeah, that doesn't make too much sense, does it, AQ? No, it does not, and she just goes for a random stab on the Man-at-Arms, which is probably gonna accomplish absolutely nothing, but oh well, it's better than a pass, I suppose. But yeah, that basically means that she is probably not gonna live through this. Now, we go for another puncture onto that Grave Robber, but sadly, we don't even drop her to Death's Door, so she isn't even forced to use the regen just yet. And there's gonna be a puncture on our Antiquarian. You might be wondering, well, Shep, if this offense is failing so much, if you knew there was gonna be regen, why did you still go for the Grave Robber? Now, the thing is, once the Grave Robber is out of the match, I would be able to use my Rejuvenating Vapors to basically be immortal here, because the Flagellant doesn't have any offensive abilities. The Man-at-Arms basically doesn't have any offensive abilities unless you hit into him, because my opponent also has the Porcupine Man-at-Arms. And the Shieldbreaker alone, even without her skins, she can't break through Tears of the Lost Region, because it's 3 points for 4 rounds. So if we were able to do that before the Antiquarian died, if we were able to take out that Grave Robber, we would be in a really good position, but, you know, it's easier said than done. So right now I have a choice of what I want to do. I think I'm just gonna decide to click my Antiquarian a little bit early here, just to use my action before I don't have it anymore. Just go for a stab onto that Flagellant, and right now I'm pretty sure I have enough damage. With 2 damage trinkets, it's not extremely likely, but there was... no, actually it was extremely likely. Yeah, with 2 damage trinkets you have plus 30% damage. But Kotta isn't playing around here. He just clicks the Flagellant, goes for the heal, and the entire enemy team is at full HP essentially. Well, not anymore, not after that expose. And you might be wondering, well, Shep, why does your Shieldbreaker have Eerie Eye and Graceful Anklet? Graceful Anklet is 15 dodge, 4 accuracy, so, you know, you pretty much always take it. But Eerie Eye is 12 accuracy, 20% debuff chance, so that's pretty good for the expose, but also Ignore Stealth. Why would you need Ignore Stealth on a character that already ignores Stealth at Expose? It is interesting, but you sometimes actually want to puncture Stealth characters rather than exposing them, like the Grave Robber. So she might be in position 3 and Expose would work, but sometimes you just want to puncture her to position 1 instead and do something else. Or sometimes you're in position 4 and Expose doesn't reach. But yeah, we are gonna go for an amazing play right there. So we went for a guard, which is useless against Puncture, but here's the thing. Puncture is not a Pierce or any other very, very powerful ability. So technically it should only do like 4 damage, and before that Puncture even happened, I got the plus 25% damage from being guarded because of the command buff, which basically meant that my Dark Stab allowed me to kind of less than half that Flagellant's HP. It's at less than half HP right now, like 21 crit Dark Stab is pretty crazy. So we just went for another stab there, you know, even though we have plus 50 accuracy between the Ghoul Claw, the Battle Belt, and the command buff, the enemy Grave Robber is still dodging, she just has way too much. And now we have the finale here. You might be wondering, oh, Shep, wasn't the idea to kill the Grave Robber? Well, yes, but if I don't kill the Man-at-Arms, the Flagellant now, he's not gonna die. So if I take out the Flagellant now, I might still be able to deal with that Grave Robber later. Now there's going to be a Panic Dart onto my Jester. That crit might look very scary, but it was very unnecessary. The normal hit would have gotten me afflicted anyway, and there was a lot of wasted stress on that. So yeah, with the Flagellant out, we can now kind of abuse the positioning between this Grave Robber and this Shieldbreaker to just prevent more Panic Darts from coming through, because in position 1 she can't do it, right? So we have that going for us, and the Man-at-Arms being in position 4 is also really good. A little bit of a weird guard there by my opponent. I'm not too sure what they were going for with that. Maybe more damage because of the command buff? I don't know. So I still had 1 round of Repulsor. There's no point going for a guard right now. There's both Puncture and it won't really accomplish much here, not like the previous guard accomplished. So I just decided to drop a command buff, give myself a little more accuracy, make sure that we do not miss that Grave Robber and her 59 dodge, like 59 is a lot. So yeah, we have more accuracy, and now we go for the 51% hit chance, and we do hit it. Would have been a 71 if the Paranoid didn't refuse the command buff, but I guess even with the command buff refused, she still did pretty well. Keep in mind that the Grave Robber does have the plus crits received on her from the previous expose, so that is coming in very, very clutch there with the crit nervous stab. It does also apply more horror, because with the Ghoul Claw you actually apply horror with that ability. It's 6 points for 3 rounds, and if you crit, it's 6 points for 4 rounds. So yeah, Grave Robber is gonna go afflicted right about now, and I don't think I will be able to do enough damage with my Shieldbreaker, but if I could deal enough damage, she could very well die here. She's definitely in a rough spot. So she's gonna mark herself, which no one cares about, and she's gonna go for that Toxin Trickery, so she's up even more dodge. She didn't lose a lot of dodge right now though. Yeah, the debuff has been cleared, so this is gonna be a little bit more difficult to take her out. I have a choice of doing 8 to 14 damage, or doing 5 to 9, applying stress, and the debuff at the same time. So I just decided, you know what, I might not get the kill by the normal mean of just getting the death blow chance, so I'm just gonna kill her through stress and have a little bit more of a confirmed chance of getting a kill here. So, you know, you see the crit chance, very, very high crit chance. because of that exposed debuff, and you literally can't resist the debuff right now. I have Eerie Eye, and even if you have a little bit of resistances, it doesn't do anything. So Defender here, very interesting play, I believe a misplay, because I could just puncture and potentially get the death blow. I mean, I'm not going for the 25% death blow, but if you give me the chance of going for it, then I will definitely go for it. And I'm gonna go for the 51% hit chance, I whiff it. And the thing is, you can see that my backline is absolutely destroyed, like they're in shambles right now, and my front line is just chilling. It's very interesting how that turned out, but yeah. It is indeed very interesting. Here I have another choice. Do I want to go expose or do I want to go puncture? Now I would like to put her in position 1 again, but the thing is, expose is stress, and it is also a chance for me to hit her with retribution. So we do have that going for us. So there's going to be a puncture right now. I had suffered like 3 Death Sword checks just before that, so it was expectable for that to happen. Sadly, we don't have Bellow, which means that if we did not apply enough stress to that Grave Robber, she might actually survive here. However, we have Solo. So instead of Bellow, we have Solo here, which does 15 stress to that Grave Robber, and she's taking a lot, but it's not quite enough. She still has 6 points of horror on her, but she's gonna drop a Panic Darts onto my Man-at-Arms, which was a risk. It was a very big risk. I think going for the chest would have been a much safer play, because you would probably die on the spot, but at the very least you apply like essentially 16 blight to my Man-at-Arms. That's even if you don't crit, it's still a lot of blight. It's like a third or even more of my HP. And I went for a little bit of a suspicious pull on that Shieldbreaker because I didn't feel like I had anything else better. But that resulted in my Man-at-Arms getting hit with the Adder's Kiss, which, you know, is good and bad. I have riposte with the Shield Spike. You want to be hit. Now, there's going to be Retribution on my Jester, but I am going to keep my turn here. So, however many turns my Jester is going to have, keep in mind he could not have if that enemy Panic Darts went on the Jester rather than the Man-at-Arms. So yeah, do keep that in mind. You see that my accuracy is not great. The Reaper Shroud activates a little bit worse than the finisher actually does, because Reaper Shroud is under 35% HP and the finisher is under 40% HP. That's the condition for giving you that extra accuracy. And I think, I don't know what Kotta why he did there, why he did that, because it accomplishes literally nothing. So now you have the 75% hit chance. We had the 135 accuracy, but sadly it failed because, you know, she was already dead to horror. That's the cool thing about the Ghoul Claw, is that this team does actually have horror because of that Ghoul Claw, which means that characters just die like that. So the Grave Robber is gone, and now it is a 3v2, and it's a very asymmetrical 3v2 here, because my Jester is probably dead to like an expose or two, maybe just even one expose, and my Man-at-Arms is ticking down to their store while the enemy Man-at-Arms is alive and healthy, but my Shieldbreaker is alive and healthy while the enemy Shieldbreaker is not doing so well. So here I'm thinking, do I want to drop a Retribution and miss out on the extra command buff, or do I just want to keep my riposte and go command buff instead so I can actually hit the Shieldbreaker? And the thing is, you might be wondering, well, if the Shieldbreaker has so much dodge, why don't you just wait it out and go for the Man-at-Arms? I cannot go for the Man-at-Arms right now. Also, I'm gonna get another turn with the Jester, so that's a Dirk Stab, and that's an Aegis block removed. So that's already 2 turns that I wouldn't have gotten if there was the Panic Darts before. And not only is it 2 turns, it's also a waste of the Man-at-Arms turn to go for that Retribution. So yeah, and there is gonna be a chance for me to get the death blow here, because after that expose she only has 1 Aegis block and we get a 67% hit chance, and now we're gonna go for the puncture. We have 196 accuracy with the puncture, so you know there's no world where we miss it, and we get the 25% chance death blow. So that was very, very lucky, because that's a death blow before a Serpent Sway. So if there was a Serpent Sway just after that, this would have been much worse of a position for me, but since there was no Serpent Sway, I'm quite happy about the situation. So right now I'm gonna go for a little bit of a misplay, because here it might not look like it, but guarding with the Man-at-Arms was the best play, because with guarding with the Man-at-Arms I would have gotten plus 25% damage while guarded, and I would have gotten 30% protection, so the repulse wouldn't hurt even near as much. So I'm just gonna drop the command to give myself more buffs, and if my Man-at-Arms manages to survive this, I will go for a guard, because I do eventually realize, oh wait, I did a little bit of a mistake there. I did the noopsie. So yeah, I'm gonna go for that riposte, so that is good. We do still have the riposte up. We don't really want to go Retribution into the enemy Man-at-Arms right now, because, I mean, we're gonna do 1 damage and we're just gonna get ourselves killed faster, which you really don't want. What you want to do is make sure the enemy man-at-arms has to go Retribution on you, and eventually just waste his turns like that. So yeah, we go for another piercing, we resist the bleed because of the extra bleed resistance from the guard, and we only take 4 damage because he's at death's door. So very, very good outcome for us. I think the enemy man-at-arms is gonna go for Retribution twice here, so he is gonna miss out on even more damage on that Retribution. He's also going to miss out on some accuracy, so we have 14 HP, which is a solid amount. I'm thinking, do I want to go Sway right now? I think twice, like, nah, that's not a good idea. But here comes the shield spike, and I am gonna go down to Death's Door because of those bleeds. So I already have 1 Death's Door check on the MAA, and he only has +8 accuracy right now. And yeah, you can see that he went for Retribution twice, so he had minus 40% damage and at Death's Door, and he still did 12 with the Repulse crit, which is just brutal. It is insane. Well, he's the last character alive, and shield spike is +25% damage, so it does make sense. Here, I'm at Death's Door. I can make use of the dodge, I can really make use of the Aegis blocks, so there's no point not going for that. So there's going to be the Retribution, and here you might think for a split second, oh, I might not want to hit because I only have 1 Aegis block and I might die after it. Like, there's no world where you don't give yourself another 2 Aegis block doing Serpent, so you just have to take a little bit of a risk here. That's what you have to do. We go for another Death's Door check on him, and he's going to go Retribution again. So he's going Retribution twice instead of going Retribution once, command, Retribution, command. So he is missing out on a lot of accuracy because of that. I mean, you wanted to go for the Death's Door check. You might see that as like, oh, I have a 70% to hit and a 15% chance to win the match. Like, you know how I usually say that. Like, you see a death blow on the Flagellant, like 20% chance, oh, if I hit this 20, I'm gonna win the match. So sometimes you do have to go for those. And I think Kotta maybe did the good decision going for that, because this is not looking too good. I still have a lot of dodge, I still have 60 dodge, and I still have the Aegis block, and that's just gonna be another whiff, and Kotta is just writing messages like, god damn it. And that is gonna be the death blow onto that man-at-arms with the 4th check, I believe. So the Shieldbreaker takes it at Death's Door with 1 Aegis block. So what looked like a very, very bad match for me at the start, with the Antiquarian being down to Death's Door, almost afflicted, and the Grave Robber still having that regen, managed to be quite the turnaround here, clutching out that early kill on the Flagellant, I mean early to mid kill on the Flagellant, that epic finale after the crit 21 Dirk Staff, as well as the follow-up to kind of lucky kills, you know, the horror kill and then the 25% on the Shieldbreaker. That was indeed insane. So anyway, GG's to Kotta, I hope you all enjoy the match, and I'll see you again another time. Cheers.